Aloha, welcome to the fourth episode of the 12th series of the Temple of Surf, the podcast. Today with us from California, photographer, producer, and director Chris Sardelis. We discuss with him about Harbour Chronicles, the movie, surf, surfers, and much more. Hi, Chris. Welcome to the show. Where are you today?
I'm in California, Huntington Beach, California. It's offshore. Surf's about 4 foot right now, and it's pretty good. But there are fires going on, so
Yeah.
yeah.
It is a very big tragedy, of course.
Yeah.
We're close to LA people today. So Huntington Beach is the place to be for a surfer, right? One of the places to be. I mean,
Surf City.
right.
It's either us or Santa Cruz. There's a battle between us and Santa Cruz of who's Surf City. So I think we're Surf City.
Okay, we take it like that. We're not. I'm not trying to put myself in the middle of fun.
Santa Cruz boys will probably chime in. That's okay.
And then I'm sure the Australian have something to say. I'm sure the Hawaiian have something to say. South African as well. So you know what? Surf City is every place where people have good time, at least.
Absolutely. The U.S. Open is what we're known for, basically.
Yes, true.
Yeah.
And also the Olympic Games are coming to Huntington Beach, isn't it? So
either there or Trestles. I haven't heard the final. So have they come out with it? I don't know.
No, they keep it secret,
Yeah, I think I might even go to Trestles. So I don't know. So that kind of makes sense because it's right there.
Maybe both.
Yeah, I mean, for the spectator part of it, it's got to be Huntington because it's just a spectator. It's like the Roman place. Yeah, it's a gladiator pit.
So it's a Coliseum. Yes.
Yeah, it's like a Coliseum. It is because you got the pier, you got the bleachers, so it's a Coliseum effect for sure. So yeah, that's why they like it, Surf City. So.
A lot of legends that started and continue to live in Huntington Beach, of course. But before we go into this deep conversation about things, let me ask you the question that I ask everyone to open the show. In your opinion, what is the most important thing in surfing?
To keep surfing.
Yeah.
Don't stop. That's the most important thing. You love the sport to begin with. Don't stop it. I mean, no matter how old you get, don't stop. Like I'm 65, I just went out yesterday, I'm sore, but I don't stop. It keeps you keep yourself in shape and everything so you can surf, and it's the best thing for your life because you love surfing to begin with and you're gonna love it forever. Just don't stop. I mean, and if you can't do it, if you physically can't do it, keep doing it in your head. We all surf in our head, right? We see little waves. Oh, I can do that. I can, right? So keep that little kid stoke, that little Grom stoke through your whole life. I think that's the most important thing you can do.
I agree with you. Two things came to my mind. Once when I was talking with Felipe Pomar, that he has a surf till you're 100.
Yes, exactly. You have to keep moving. Like that's what life is. Like Roy Crump is in his 80s, and he says in this movie I made, but Roy Crump still surfs. I mean, you got to go. So, but like I said, if you can't go, if your legs are cut off or something, take the wheelchair down there and mind surf. But keep your brain in the ocean. So
exactly. As long as it goes up to the ocean, right? And that makes it. And the second thing I was thinking about with Nat Young, the Australian.
Yes.
During my conversation with him, he told me, Alessandro, now I'm old. I surf 5 days per day. Those waves are like not on my top level, but those waves are my life, and he was saying like, I cannot picture in my mind the day where I will stop surf those five waves, right? And as well, he was saying that everyone in the lineup was respecting him so much, so they were allowing him to take all the
absolutely. Wouldn't you? Yes, sir. Go ahead. That's another beautiful thing about surfing. If it's done right, everybody respects in order. You know what I mean? The order you come in. So it's like the Groms, and then the mid guys, the pros, and then the legends.
Yeah, exactly. And legends, they can take any wave and they have like priority.
Yeah, you got a guy that's 60 or 70, 80 years old, go. You know what I mean? There's more waves to share. That's the aloha, you know?
Exactly. That's Aloha. Exactly.
Yeah, aloha.
Aloha.
Yeah, exactly.
So tell me about you. When you surf the first time?
See, I'm an inner city kid. I'm from Long Beach. So I had to really struggle to get my first wave. So the nearest beach for me was Seal Beach. So hitchhike, ride a bike, take a bus. It was about a 5-6 mile travel to get there. So I started in the mid 70s. So the surfboards were real shitty. You know, they didn't have drawn boards that you got 6'2" or 6'8" or whatever it was. That's what you surfed on. And then you drug that down to Seal Beach and just put in my time, you know. And then that's what it is. Just put your time in. You get addicted to the sport and in repetition. And then I got in with the surf shop, Harbour Surfboards, and that shop changed my life. So it pointed me in the right direction, and I got it. You know, everything follows for a reason. And then, so yeah,
it changed your life, but not only yours. You know, I've been following quite a lot of the things you posted, and I read preparing this interview. Of course, we're going to talk about Surf Harbour Surf Shop and surfboard.
Mm-hmm.
But talking about surfboards, what was your first proper surfboard? Not like the one where you were learning on, but
well, I gotta say, my second board as a Grom was a Dave and the Wave, a Dino, which I true to my heart. I wish I kept it, but like that was the first board that made me realize I wasn't going to stop surfing. So I knew from then on that it would progress. And then my first real surfboard was a surf shop in Long Beach called Rainbow Bridge.
Yes,
they were very brief, but the owner Herbie Spitzer was getting it down, good shaping, and that allowed my surfing to advance to the level where I got noticed by the Harbour team. So,
and you didn't kept any of those boards?
No, I wish I did. all you Groms out there, keep your first boards, okay?
Yeah,
I mean, you know what I mean? Keep them.
Yeah,
it's like if I would have kept that Dino, could you imagine? That Dino in the way. Oh,
they would have been something like I don't know, iconic. You know, it's like
iconic. There's a little 5'10" single fin. You know, had thick stringers in it and everything. It was so cool. It had the big Dino fish. You know, familiar with the Dave and the Wave of Dino? Yeah,
I interviewed him as well.
Yeah,
he's and his son. Kai.
He's all over Huntington. He still lives here, so you'll see him walking down the street.
Yeah, talking about legends, right?
You know, I just saw him the other day sitting on a wall waiting for somebody on Delaware Street. So he's all around.
They're already on everything. Now they're on the waves, on the signal, on the bus stop, on whatever.
All around guy, you know. So yeah.
So how come, you know, like if we jump into the Harbour surf shop and surfboard, how come have you decided to focus on this piece of history in particular?
How do I focus my movie? Why did I focus on Harbour?
Why you choose to focus on this?
Well, I was okay. So out of that, I worked at the shop. I was a very poor child. I didn't have any money, but I was surfing good. And he gave me a job pulling up the floors for the resin in the back because they were manufacturing the surfboards in the back of the shop. And then I got myself settled, and he gave me a job as a salesman. And so I started making a little bit more money. And then I met a guy that used to work there but was retired, would come in and talk to me. His name was Denny Buell.
Mm-hmm.
So he's one of the very first, he's in the first Surfer magazine. And he started talking to me about getting on the fire department because he was a retired fireman. So because of that guy, I started taking fire science classes and I got on the fire department. So basically being in that shop, being exposed to these guys that are great guys, it helped me propel myself. Kind of taught me a lot of lessons. So
okay, so that's the beginning, but then
that's the beginning. So then I'm a fireman for 33 years. I get into surf photography, right? My wife, I meet my wife, and she's an artist, Inzia Farrell, and she starts to teach me about photography and cameras. So I become a surf photographer for Surfing and Surfer magazine. So I get all these exposures, and then I retire, and I kind of know how to use the camera. So I started filming Rich Harbour, interviewing.
Okay.
And then my passion for the shop and for him being a father figure to me kind of led me to maybe make a little video. And then that video led to something bigger. And then I got a guy named Nathan Myers, who works for Surfer Magazine, who's a writer, wrote a little script, and he did a little rough draft, and that led to where I'm at now. So it just started snowballing. And I started interviewing different people that worked at the shop. I didn't realize the scope of the people that worked in that shop. I interviewed Chuck Sutherland, Mark.
Wow.
I mean, all these Jericho Poplar. So this thing's just expanding and getting huge.
Wow.
So yeah, and then I ended up befriending Joe Estelani, who found me my editor, Mike Bruning, who was a Emmy award-winning editor, and he put it all together to the end. So that's where we're at.
I mean, it's like okay. You did create an avalanche of information, and now it's like I have small
process it
out of my ears because we fast forward from the fireman to okay, cool.
That's the English Italian translation.
Yeah. Most probably is your Italian side that comes up in this.
That was a span of 45 years, right there.
No, exactly. You put me actually in a difficult situation because I have actually, I'll go for this. Being a fireman,
Yes.
of course, is something that for you guys, it's over there. We spoke before about LA fires.
Mhm.
What was the major teaching of this part of your life?
Ooh, the life is very fragile because you see the best and the worst of life as a fireman, and you see it like 3 or 4 times a day for 30 years. So
It's a lot to take in. It's very emotionally distressing.
yeah, there's a lot of guys. It hurts a lot of guys too. So there's a lot of post-traumatic stress problems and stuff with it that come with it. But that's just the nature of the job. You have to have a human go in and save another human. It's just until we get a robot or something. That's just how it is right now. So it's
I deviated a bit from the surf side, but I think it's so a current topic in these days that and you as I never met a firefighter in my life, so I had to ask.
Yeah, but it's a rewarding job too because you see a lot of death, but you also help a lot of people and save a lot of people. So you get that those little tiny rewards of saving somebody makes up for all the death and destruction that you see. So yeah, and it takes a certain person. So yeah.
Thank you for sharing this. Sorry if I ask the question though. We go back to the surf shop, and I didn't realize like Jock Sutherland worked at Harbour.
Yeah. I have a list right here of just about every famous person that worked there. Like Dick Brewer, the Shaper Brewer worked there for 2 summers and made cheaters and bananas. So in the back room, Rich was so busy that he had to bring in other shapers because he was selling thousands and thousands of boards a month. So we had that period, and it all came from the Gidget movie, The Boom.
Okay, of course, like it was when everybody wanted a surfboard in US, right? Yes.
Yeah. So Harbour's timing, he was only 18 when he opened his shop. Think about that. He was so young. He started at 16, and foam was coming in at that perfect time. So it was going from balsa boards to foam boards.
Okay.
Which made everything lighter and easier for people. So once people started seeing that surfing was easier to carry board stuff, it started snowballing, and then Gidget came out. And then poof.
Yes.
And he was right there. He went from 5 orders a month to 5,000.
It's simply documentary.
18. He's actually 18 or 19 years old when this is happening. His dad had to call the resin companies to order the resin because he was too young.
Oh my God.
So now picture a 21-year-old boss running the surf team like Harbour.
Yeah.
And then you have Jock Sutherland and Mark Martinson, who are almost the same age.
Yes.
Isn't that weird? So it's more of a friendship than a Harbour owner or shop owner. So that friendship, I think, allowed all his riders to flourish. So I mean, that's just what I saw.
And then the time he opened the surf shop was 1960.
Late 62, 63.
Oh my God. Even before the first world champion, yeah. And so it's like,
Yes. Well, I think 5960 they had the contest at Huntington Beach. Remember, they had to wear the helmets. So that was won by Jack Haley and his brother Mike Haley, 5960 respectively. And those guys were from Seal Beach.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So Seal Beach at that time was a real hub of surfing. So the population of Long Beach brought a lot of surfers in because most of the guys, good surfers, were from Long Beach. So Mark Martinson, Roy Crump, all of those guys were from Long Beach. Greg Tucker. So except for Rich Chu. Rich Chu was from Seal.
And at that time, people needed a permit to surf, right?
Yes, there was a time when surfing was outlawed. It's actually in the movie where the cops really were frowned upon them. So, yeah, it was you had to have a license in Newport Beach on your board, and they checked it. And Rich got a ticket for surfing at 7 a.m. It's in the movie. There's a picture of it. So, yeah, we were outlaws back then. Isn't that crazy? And it turns into a multi-billion-dollar industry, right? I mean, that's what's so unique about surfing is the big corporations tried to grab that, So and they did.
They still do, because if you listen to the shapers, for instance, like now with over 200 episodes of this podcast, for me, not living there and not being for sure not being a shaper, but shapers in California, for instance, are very upset because they have to respect a lot of rules in terms of pollution, health, safety, whatnot, employment, and they see these boards coming from Asia, where not all maybe not all the standards of America or USA are respected, and then they cost like maybe a quarter of what American made surfboard cost, and it's a issue. It's an issue that because it's kind of unfair competition. One side, the other to protect something that it's kind of very important. Is like surf is such like how you say recent thing, right? Unless we go back to the Hawaiians or to the
right. Yeah.
Then I guess there is no so much protection from the government as well on what surf is.
Yeah, and to think about it now, it's even crazier. Someone in Asia could get a surfboard, like a lost surfboard, scan it, and copy it. I mean, and then put it on a computer. That's it. So, I mean, yeah, there's a lot out there going on right now. It's different from the days of handshaking and everything else. I mean, people don't even handshake anymore. They don't even use a saw to cut the blank anymore. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's totally crazy. I agree with you.
Yeah, so actually, shapers now are more computer shapers than actual shapers.
Yeah, but some of them, I think they are defending the craft. I think,
yes,
it's a surfboard shaping traditional is like it's kind of a craftsman, is a craftsman, it's like
yes, and we portray that in the movie because Rich Harbour was a craftsman because he comes from a lineage like his grandfather was a blacksmith.
Okay,
so blacksmith is in the 1800s with metal, iron ore and all that, and then his father was a gunsmith. So he had genetics, and he had this whole garage. His dad being a gunsmith, he had all the tools accessible to him. So he was a wood craftsman in elementary school. He was the top kid in the wood class. So in America, we have wood and metal classes. So back in the day, they don't have them anymore, but it used to be that the schools would provide a class on how to work with metal and wood for trades. That was in the 50s and 60s.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of jobs they were like
right. And now it's computer trades. Like they teach. Exactly. So back then it was wood and metal. So he excelled in the wood class, and so he made wooden balsa boards before the foam, playing around. But his skillmanship was there, and we portray that in the movie.
And the other thing is that I actually learned is that most of the initial shapers they were like people that were working in the boat industry.
Yes, like Dale Velzy, he would shape underneath the pier, right, and bring in the wood and the balsa and put it together. They used to get the balsa from the World War II planes because the wings were made out of balsa, so they would go to Douglas in Long Beach, where they made the boat, the planes, and they would get the scrap balsa for the boards.
Wow, I didn't know that story.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's how the balsas kind of started, because the balsa was in limited supply. That's why when the foam came, it expanded. You could only make 5,000 balsa boards a year.
Yeah,
because of the supply of balsa. But when foam came in, that's 50,000 or up 1 million you can make.
So from balsa board, to a fantastic story of I see what you write is the oldest surf shop in the world, obviously, because I don't know who opened at the same time. This stage. It's like
What's special about that comment is it's the oldest manufacturing, because they're still making the boards in the back to this day. They're still shaping them in the back. They get them from the computer, but they bring them down, they shape them, and they're designing them in the back. So the back room is still the original shape room is being used. So that's the uniqueness of this whole shop. So is that crazy?
Yes, it's fantastic that they're still there, and preserving surf culture means also preserving places like this, because otherwise disappear, real estate prices grow, and then there is nothing to do, like a matter of time, people have to go.
And what's cool about the movie is that the Bay Theater directly across the street just got redone after being vacant for like 20 years. And it's a very old movie theater that was made in 1945.
Okay.
And I used to show 5 summer stories there, like in the 70s and 80s. So it's got a tradition of showing surf movies. So we're premiering it at that shop, the Bay Theater across the street. That's just has this brand new. You should go on the website and look at it. Okay. And then
I think I saw the picture that you posted that was like before.
Yeah.
Doesn't look right now, but I guess they did a good job.
And it's not basetheater.com with the R at the end. The E is at the end. So it's RE, Base Theater. So .com.
And so the reason why you have done this movie is, of course, because you started working right there.
Yes.
And so you're very connected, but is actually a tribute to them, no? It's like...
Yes, it's out of the love of the respect of that man and that shop. It meant so much to me that I wanted to do something. Does that make sense? And I had a good friend, Greg Escaloni, who did a book about him, and he told me I should do a movie about him. So he pushed me into it. And then and his brother helped me out, Joe Escaloni, who I don't know if you know who Joe is. Joe, he's the bassist for the Vandals.
Okay, well, I didn't know.
So he's a famous rock group in America.
Yeah.
So he came in there, and he's also a screenwriter and a screenplay, and he helped me shape the movie a little bit too. So he's a lot to do with it, and he helped me get the music. So because he's in the music industry. So
and how difficult it was for you to choose like the final cut of the movie? I guess
that's why I pay the editor. So he gets into that point where I say, yeah, I just he shapes it. The movie, most movies are about the editor. I don't know if you know this, but the editor makes the movie. Okay. So he takes the story and molds it.
Because
there's all the cutaways and there's a visual. He creates the emotion through the visuals.
We talk about surf photography, and I remember, when I was doing concert photography at a certain time, and there is the SD card, and you plug it in the computer, and then you have like maybe 1,000 pictures. And
yes,
down to 10 is almost impossible. You see this one, and then it goes into like hundreds of pictures out of.
Yes, and if you pick the wrong one, you don't tell the story right. See, so it's all editing is key. So I was a surf photographer before digital. We used to use the slide positive films.
Yeah.
So in the water, you can only shoot 36 shots.
Exactly.
So you had to be very selective. So you didn't go, spray it. You had to do like 3 shots. Because you can get the sequence in 3 shots. The middle shot is the best. Yeah. Right? 1, 2, 3. But this shot's the best. So it trains your brain to save. Wait for the moment. Does that make sense?
Definitely, it does. When I speak with a surf photographer that started their career, let's say back in the 80s, 90s, there is so much respect from my side, and I guess from everyone in the world, because one session,
Yep.
you were like making a mistake on exposure or on shutter speed, on things like that. You could have catch like the best session ever, and then you were going in the dark room and what the
What happened, right? And I've had that happen. I've swam out of Porto, and I forgot. I swam out of Porto, and I thought I was getting the shots, and there was no filming.
no way. Yes, classic.
All the time.
Classic. It happens today. I know, but today, if
No, today everything's digital. It's just you got to put the card in still, so you might forget the card.
the camera will tell you.
It won't work without the card. See, it won't work without the card.
Exactly. No memory card will not allow you to take pictures. So you see, we got spoiled by the technology in effect at a certain
Yeah.
time, So,
Yeah. And that, but it's. I think it's great on the other hand because your knowledge is expanded. Like I didn't know from podcasts alone. This is great. Podcasts changed the world already with the presidential election. So yeah, I mean, podcasts changed. It's the communications changing the world. So
definitely. Yeah. Okay. And I was talking with surf photographers, of course, Jimmy Metico. And he was telling me at the time the story of Tom Curren. Tom Curren at the beginning, and Al Merrick, and he
yes.
it was taking picture of what was happening, of course, on the waves. But he said, like, I turned my camera on the beach. There was a whole world going on of things. And the surf culture and the people around these figures, and definitely, I think surf photographers from Leroy Grannis to today, they're doing an excellent job, no matter the technology and the things that have been given to them. And in movies, we go from Endless Summer of Bruce Willis to the Chronicle of
Harbour Chronicles. Exactly. Yeah, but I think photography is one of the most ancient things that we do as humans. To try to capture the moment. I mean, it's just humans are amazing how all the things we invent and stuff. Like it's kind of cool if you think about it. Like it's kind of cool how far we've come.
Yeah,
just since I've been born, the technology is crazy. And then my grandmother, she's been born, it's been crazy. My grandmother was born before the plane, all that shit. So it's crazy. We're already on the moon, going to Mars in my lifetime. So it's
and a different time. At that time, they were teaching to be like I don't know, to work with the wood or to work with the metal, right? So that's what the most. So before we go into some legend, legendary story, because you started this interview telling me there are some stories, so I'm very curious to know, because I haven't watched the movie, but actually the question is where this movie, because right now you are just doing a theater, right?
Right.
For US market, right?
Right. I have a publicist. We're working on hitting up some of the surf festival, film festivals. So once we do a couple of rounds of the film festival, then we want to get it on the cable, get it somewhere so the world can see it. That's I have people getting a hold of me from Japan and Florida and Italy. They want to see it, so I got to get it on a cable stream. So that's the ultimate goal, so the world can see it and learn.
But you're going then step by step, first more.
Yeah, I guess I'm all new to this. I don't understand a lot of it, so I have a guy helping me, a publicist. So we're going to try to get a little bit more exposure on it and then take it and see if they want to put it on the streaming. So I guess that's how you do it. Yeah. Unless there's someone out there right now that can get me on Amazon, come and get me. Come talk to me now. I'm cheap.
We want to see it, come on. It's like
So maybe I get a groundswell of the public's interest will spur something like that. So
much that can listen, please. The other side of the world that is not US wants to have a
right. Yeah, we want to get it. Definitely, we want to take it to Hawaii. There's a lot of this happens in Hawaii. So we're showing it to the Bay Theater, and our first 4 shows are already sold out. And then we had to do one more final show, and that's got like only 80 seats left. So So there's people out there that want to see it, and they also want to see the Bay Theater. So it's a double combo. It's kind of cool. So then we're going to go down to Laguna and then keep going down the coast. And then, so the end of the year, we should have a good idea of where we're at.
Maybe you started with 4, now you are 5, and then you're gonna do end up like Elvis in Vegas. You do every day for the next.
But yeah, we want to get it to different locations. I want people to see it because the Harbour brand has been around the world. I mean, it's around the world. I mean, you see the triangle everywhere. So
of course,
yeah,
iconic logo, you know, and
I mean, we got shots of it in Egypt and Italy, everywhere. I mean, it's crazy.
Well, among all the stories that you tell, let's not talk about favorite, but let's talk about meaningful in general. What is the most meaningful story that you like to share with me today?
Out of the movie?
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of a linear story. It's about Harbour himself and how he kind of lasted so long. And there's certain reasons he survived the shortboard revolution because everybody else kind of dropped out. You know, all the big longboard corporations, they kind of dropped out because the garage guys were making these little boards and stuff. And there was no business. The economy was shitty. So what's he do? He makes skateboards. So he becomes a very popular skateboard builder. And so he does that for a few years just to survive. And then he goes back into making smaller boards, twin fins. And then that doesn't work out because of an incident with one of his workers. And then the longboard revolution comes along. And he's right back to where he started in the early 60s. So he's actually making more boards in the 90s than he did in the 60s.
Oh, okay. Yesterday. Yeah, definitely. Yes.
So when the longboard revolution came back, they didn't want to get a lost longboard. They wanted to get a Harbour longboard from the period back in then, or a Hobie or something that was back then. So he just boomed again. He never drank or smoked, and his mom helped him run the business. So I think he's and he never moved out of the town. So he's just, that's kind of his whole stream is the whole genuineness of him and how much people love him and how much of a father figure he was to a lot of people besides myself. So yeah.
The fact that you have such a connection with the story and the brand and the family shows that you've been treated rightly. And I think
a lot of the characters through the movie I actually have known through my life, so it felt good. It felt easy, right. You know. So yeah,
and you know, like connecting this story with as well what the story of Bing, for instance, Bing Copeland. You know that at time, you know, the David Eva, you know, like the period of shortboard revolution, and then out of business, and then trying to go back again. It's like those kind of stories, they interconnect, you know, into the Californians of the 60s and 70s, and which are fantastic to hear today because everything goes so fast, and we look at this thing and oh my God, you know.
See, the thing about Rich is, I think why he lasted so long, and he says it in the movie, he goes, he didn't work a day in his life because he's just doing what he loves. So he just loves it. And he's in town. He doesn't move out. And he just thrives in this little tiny town. And that's kind of like the story. And then we tell the story about the town. Because the town used to be a really rough and tumble gambling town owned by, you know, the mob basically owned it till the 40s. So, and then it turned into this conservative town after that. Now it's like Mayberry RFD, real cute and quiet. You know, 3-block Main Street, and that's it. So, and it's just the evolution of everyone in life.
So we go back to the Italian mob, and then
they were there. They were there. Bugsy Malone, everybody. They had a little piece because Long Beach was a big port.
Oh, okay.
Long Beach had a lot of cops. Long Beach had 500 cops.
Wow.
Field Beach is right next door. It's got a little tiny port called Alamis Bay.
Okay.
It's only got 3 cops.
Okay.
Which is easier to bribe? 3 cops.
If not, they were sleeping at a certain point. They could not.
And it's at the county line, so the Long Beach guys couldn't cross the county line.
Cool. I mean,
Seal Beach is right on that line, so that's why the mobsters thrive there. That's we also tell that story.
Good to know. And tell me something else. During the movie, there are like a lot of surf legends, personalities that are appearing, you know, in a way or another. So you want like maybe to say a few names just for
Sure.
what the people should expect to see?
Okay, if you ever heard of a guy named Greg McGilvery?
Yeah.
He made 5 Summer Stories.
Yeah.
Okay. He's the IMAX world famous director. So he's done a lot of work. So he got his start hanging out with Harbour. So he made a couple movies, The Color of The Performers, and he used the Harbour guys. So I get to use all his footage for my movie to tell the story. So I have brilliant 16 millimeter footage from Greg McGilvery. Like they go over to Maui and discover Maui in 1965. It's brilliant footage. So he's in it. Greg McGilvery. Jerry Lopez is in it.
Yeah.
And then Jock Sutherland was a team writer. Mark Martinson was a team writer. Mark Martinson's a famous surfer. And Steve Bigler was in it. So all these guys are 64, 65. Steve Bigler and Jock Sutherland came second and fourth to Nat Young in a 66 world contest, just to give a perspective. So Harbour writers were right there with Nat Young. So
yeah. That's the time.
Yeah, lots. So let's see who else is in there. Sean Collins. We do a bit on Sean Collins and Surfline because Sean Collins came out of the shop. I don't know if you know that. Yeah. Do you use Surfline?
Yes, yeah, a long time. It's not like it's not something that I read. I read it,
but it was invented from a guy from Seal Beach. So basically, that's in the story. So let's see who else is in it. That's good. Mark Martinson, Jackie Everly. We talked about Dick Brewer, Greg Mack, Jericho Poplar's in it. Roy Crump, Bill Fury has a little spot in there. Yeah, that's about it that I could think of. The old, and then there's younger guys, Marty Thomas. I don't know who Marty Thomas is.
No, Marty Thomas. No,
he's from Hawaii.
Okay.
Yeah. Ryan Simmons.
Yes.
Chad Wells.
Wow. Okay. Well, it's like you can contact Matt Warshaw for the Encyclopedia Surfing.
Basically, Matt Warshaw helped out, but yeah. I mean,
okay, good.
Yeah, so all these guys come out of the shop. It's great. I mean, I could go on and I got the list. It's nuts.
Yeah,
it's nuts. Richard Brewer, John Gray, Herbie Fletcher worked at the shop. Bill Fury, Rich Beck, Robert August was shaped for him.
Robert August, fantastic.
And yeah, he lived with Robert August. That's where he met his wife at a Sphinx house at Seal Beach. It's the famous house, party house. We talk about
Robert August I think he's in Costa Rica or something.
He's back in Huntington.
He's back in Huntington? Okay. Oh wow. I thought it was still back.
And Corky Carroll rode for Harbour for a little bit. So
and that's it, oh my God.
Right? I mean, where else do I stop on the list? So yeah, it's a who's who for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm a curious person by nature. And when I ask you the meaningful story, and you told me in the movie or outside the movie, and I'm like, you told me in the movie, so now I want to know what story are you hiding us outside the movie?
Oh, outside! Oh, yeah. Just the shenanigans at the shop. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff that went on that's not in the movie. So,
well, you had an editor and he cut so much, That's the
yeah, we had to. I mean, you ever heard of Larry Moore, Flame?
Larry what?
Larry Moore, Surfing Magazine editor.
Larry Moore, no.
Okay. Anyway, he came out of the shop. So, yeah, there's a lot of stuff that can be talked about. Yeah, it's a different time back then. We'll just leave it at that.
Okay.
The Thai kids in a tree. We talk about that, and I talk about that in the movie. We used to the Grom abuse. Do you guys have Grom? Do you have a surf shop that you hang out at?
Which one?
Do you have a surf shop? Did you ever hang out in the surf shop?
Here, everywhere. Yes, I mean,
when you grew up as a kid, when you started surfing.
When I grew up as a kid, I grew up in like a middle of countryside in Italy, so there was no surf at all.
When did you start surfing?
Actually, I started here in Dubai, and then I travel the world when I go in holiday. If it's like I don't know Bali or Biarritz, Sometimes I came in Venice, there in California, Venice Beach. I don't know. I surfed wherever I can. So
how it used to be is there was these surf shops everywhere, and people didn't travel as much. They just stayed local. And so if you're a little kid, you hang out at the shop. And you peer through the door, and all those older guys, you're scared to go in there. And you finally go, it was a place that you went to hang out because everything you loved was inside that shop, surfboards, wetsuits. Because your little kid brain is different than the big brain, right? The older brain, right? Of course. So like, you're just, everybody's a star to you because they're bigger than you. So it creates a place for you to go hang out. So when you hang out at the surf shop, there's other kids your age. So you get this little clique, they call it. Clique. Yep. Americans call it clique when a group hangs out and you start teasing each other. And so we had that clique. It was fun. So there's a lot of stories that come out of that little group.
But I think, it's so fascinating, to go in a surf shop now. Also, at that time, like surf shop also at the shipping bay. So it's fascinating to see all these like very dangerous stuff, the plein air, maybe some aerosol art spray for colors and stuff. I think it's paradise for every kind of kid. The only point is like the dust is killing. It's not a good place to start.
Yes, but the smell of resin is part of my growing up because you're blasting in the back and you're in the front hanging out, so it's just that sense of community. It brings you together. I mean, the surf shop used to bring it. It was it's where you got your information. You wouldn't figure who won the contest, who's ripping right now, who isn't, It's a lost thing. Kids don't do it today because of the phone.
Yeah.
They don't like to be grouping together like that. If they are, they're like this.
Yeah. Don't tell.
Yeah. So the surf shop has lost that adhesiveness.
Actually, not for everyone. There are still like in some city, like in the coast of US or Australia, in Hawaii, places.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope there's a few little places left where people are getting tied to trees and stuff.
Very few though. Before we close our interview with a short Q&A session, I want to ask you something about surf photography. When you took a picture yourself, when you take a picture, do you have like something in mind particularly that you want to capture? Or, I don't know, a perspective, an action, or something like that? Or it's more like living the moment and you go there and shoot what's happening in front of you?
Well, yeah, there's two situations. There's a working situation as a working photographer. And then there's a situation where you're just on your own, you're on a vacation and you want to just capture something. So as a working surf photographer, you have to kind of have a little game plan. Okay. So do you want to have a backdrop? Do you want to shoot from the water? You have to go through all these things to set it up. But the actual act of catching it is up to the surfer on the waves. And after a while, you get a feel for it because it's just like surf. You become part of the wave, the whole aspect of that situation. Like those guys that shoot pipeline and stuff, like they're aware and they're in tune with everything. So, and you set everything up the best that you can, and then it's up to the wave and the surfer. It's like the best way. And the lighting. I mean, the lighting is always your friend or enemy. So, I mean, that's basically it. So you have to if it's your enemy that day, you have to work with it and change. And if it's your friend, then you just enjoy it.
Yeah, because I see, like for instance, if we think about a photographer that takes picture of on the land, let's say,
right,
and then also we talk about maybe a movie maker as well on the land,
right.
There is no like that kind of unpredictability of surfing in the middle of the ocean with the wave coming into you and being like, it's a really difficult thing, it's not
surf photography from the water is a completely different game than surf photography from the land. So yeah, I mean, the fact you have to be kind of fit to get into the water and then not scared. I mean, I'm not a big wave surf photographer, so I mad respect to all those guys that do it. I mean, I started late, but there's no excuse. But like, yeah, those guys are ballsy. So, I mean, I have my little level and that's it. And I'm too old now, so I'm out of the game. But those guys are like, props to the guys that are in the water, a big pipe, stuff like that. So, yeah, they're earning a lot of those guys are doing for fun, which is crazy. But yeah.
Just the episode that will be before you in this series. Yesterday, I spoke with Tony Laureano. He's from Portugal. He surfed in December the biggest wave in Jaws.
Saw that.
Yeah. And I told him, like, so tell me, it's about the position, it's about the mind, it's about something. And he told me, Alessandro, I'm in a podcast. Can I be honest? Yes, it's about balls.
Fucking big balls, right? Big giant balls, right? Being comfortable in that situation and knowing that you're gonna go down and not come up for a minute or two. So
I think also in the surf photography, big waves, you need to have like
you have to have balls. Absolutely. Like I surfed yesterday in 4 foot and I was exhausted. Like like I go out every day, but like those guys have balls.
Definitely. Okay, so well, this episode will be live like maybe in like a month from now.
Yeah.
Those 4 days that anyway are sold out, so there is no way for people to participate.
February 8th, we got like 30 tickets left. It may not be, but just if you're interested, follow Harbour _ Chronicles on Instagram or Sardelis Photo. That'll lead you to that. So it's SARDELISPHOTO.
Okay.
And that's Greek, not Italian.
It's Greek, yes. So yes, people can follow, and then eventually a big deal will happen, and so us not living in US will be able to see it as well.
Yes. So just look out for it's the Harbour Chronicles, Shaping a Legacy is the subtitle. So Shaping a Legacy, Harbour Chronicles. Harbour is at 329 Main Street, Seal Beach. 430-5614. Still remember that.
Okay. And like this, there are no discussion around exactly. We pinpoint the shop. So 6 questions are common for each one on the show. Please answer the first thing that comes up to your mind. So the best surfboard that you ever rode?
That would be a 10-0 Harbour that I have right now.
The best shaper or your favorite shaper? I think it's kind of.
Oh, I think you're going to know this answer. It's going to be Rich Harbour.
Exactly. Personal question: your favorite song or kind of music?
I'm kind of particular to blues and country. So I like a Waylon Jennings or a Robert Johnson from that strain, So anything blues, 145,
Favorite surf spot?
Southside Seal Beach.
Favorite surfer of all time?
Oh, wow. That's a good one. I'm going to have to think with this one for a second. Well, instinctively, at the gut of me, it's going to say Jerry Lopez.
Okay.
Because he influenced me the most as a kid, so it's still I got to interview him, which was amazing. So, yeah, Jerry Lopez.
He's a fantastic person, beyond being a surfer.
It's a sweetheart. Yes, he is. You learn a lot with that guy. So.
And the last question is a bit unusual. I'd like to know your best relationship advice, where relationship can be relationship with romantic relationship, friends, or ocean relationship, whatever you want to ask.
Just make sure that you enjoy that relationship that you're in and foster it and enjoy it and don't fuck it up.
Don't do it.
Right? You can fuck up your relationship with the surfing. You know what I mean? So, like, if you got a good relationship with surfing, don't fuck it up.
All right. We didn't talk about, actually, outside all these questions, what was your favorite surf film growing up?
It was 5 Summer Stories.
Yes, is that?
Yeah, exactly. And I saw it at the Bay Theater. So it's stuck in my brain. Maybe this loop is, I'm trying to get it out. I don't know, but and the guy that made it is in my movie now. So it's just weird. So it's like a dream.
Connecting the dot, 2 years later.
It's great. It's just how everything fell into place. It's great.
Right. Okay, cool, fantastic. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for being on.
Absolutely.
Look
Okay.
forward to talk to you very soon. Bye. Hi, it's me again. I hope you enjoyed our today's episode. If you want to know more about us, please follow www.thetempleofsurf.com and all our social media. Mahalo!